If the planet were a single living organism, the Amazon would be its respiratory system. It's the critical organ keeping the global climate in balance. Each year, this forest produces roughly 20% of the world's oxygen. That means every fifth breath originated here. Simultaneously, it absorbs 2.2 billion tons of CO2, quietly filtering the pollution of the world's factories and cars without a sound. To function on that scale, the forest occupies 5.5 million square kilometers, crossing 9 national borders. This diagram compares its landmass to the largest nations. If the Amazon were a sovereign country, it would be the 9th largest in the world. The Amazon is not simply a forest. It is an active, colossal entity that regulates the survival of the entire globe. The central artery powering this entity is the Amazon River. It discharges 29,000 cubic meters of water into the ocean every single second, more than all the other major rivers of the world combined. That volume is so massive that the river's fresh water sweetens the ocean up to 160 kilometers away from the coast, literally pushing back the Atlantic. This river supports wildlife that feels entirely alien, like the pink river dolphin. Local tribes have long described them as shapeshifters that enter villages at night in human form. The biological reality is just as strange. These dolphins have brains 40% larger than a human's and a neck that can rotate 180 degrees, allowing them to swim through the dense trunks of flooded forests. In those same waters, the green anaconda operates as a 250-kilogram shadow. It doesn't hunt by biting. It coils around its prey and tightens its grip every time the victim exhales, until the space for a breath simply vanishes. Between the overwhelming water volume and apex predators, the deep interior of the Amazon functions as a biological fortress. Currently, the only humans who successfully navigate the deepest parts of this forest are the 100-plus uncontacted tribes living in total isolation. For these tribes, isolation is survival. Because their immune systems have never been exposed to the outside world, common external diseases can decimate entire populations in weeks. They possess an encyclopedic understanding of the forest, knowing which plants treat specific infections and which act as antidotes to regional neurotoxins. It is an archive of knowledge that modern science has yet to replicate, but for outsiders trying to map the interior, the results are often fatal. In 1925, a British officer named Percy Harrison Fawcett launched an expedition into the deep canopy. Fawcett was fully convinced that an advanced, highly populated metropolis, which he called the City of Z, was hidden within the trees. Fawcett and his entire team simply vanished. In the decades that followed, over 100 searchers died or disappeared trying to find them, and the jungle offered no clues to their fate. For most of the 20th century, archaeologists assumed Fawcett was chasing a myth. They believed the Amazon's nutrient-poor soil could never sustain the intensive agriculture required for a massive city. Fawcett's failure reinforced the idea that the Amazon was too wild and untamable for a large civilization to ever exist there. However, Fawcett had noticed a specific anomaly in the ground that defied the laws of the jungle, a hyper-fertile black soil known as terra preta. Unlike the surrounding dirt, terra preta is packed with charcoal, ancient animal bones, and organic matter. This specific chemical makeup means the soil did not occur naturally, it was manufactured. Thousands of years after it was created, this black soil is still so fertile that it can sustain heavy, large-scale agriculture. If the soil is man-made, it implies that the ancient inhabitants were not just surviving in the wild, they were terraforming the entire basin. In 2017, researchers began using LiDAR to see through the jungle's biological defenses. By firing laser pulses from aircraft, scientists can digitally strip away the forest canopy to reveal the bare earth beneath. From a helicopter, all you see is an impenetrable wall of green. This scan shows exactly what LiDAR found beneath the canopy. The floor is scarred with vast networks of ancient roads, agricultural terraces, and massive geometric foundations. These weren't isolated huts. You can see straight engineered trenches acting as roads, connecting city-states sprawling across the basin. Percy Fawcett was right. A massive, interconnected civilization was completely real. It had just been hidden by the growth of the forest. Based on these ruins, archaeologists now estimate that up to 10 million people once lived in these Amazonian cities. These stone foundations, now being excavated from the dirt, are the physical remnants of an urban society that was eventually reclaimed by nature. Centuries of dense vegetation growth have obscured the fact that the Amazon is an abandoned human metropolis. This raises a massive historical question. How did a society of 10 million people manage to master the world's most hostile environment? And what caused them to vanish? The details of this society's survival and its eventual collapse are written in the soil. Next time, we will examine the ancient mystery of how they engineered terra preta and what it tells us about their final days.